Let's make sure we don't knock that over.
Or you're gonna take them out? So,
why don't we just make it a surprise? No?
So we're gonna sit here and like not look at the camera?
I'll tell you what. They don't know what's in the box. Here we go. Okay.
You gonna leave it on your thing the whole time?
It's gonna get lighter as I take stuff out.
Sure. Okay. But I think we should like touch on some basics before we actually go to the stuff at the track itself. I think we should wrap up with that. We got to talk about like the obvious things.
True enough.
Prep the car, get the right parts, get a good night's sleep, hydrate.
True.
Yeah, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Before even going to the track, right?
Huh? Welcome.
Episode 5.
We are here to talk about getting ready for the track.
Yep, track season starting soon.
Yay!
Hopefully.
Get your oil changes done and all that jazz.
It's almost May and there's still snow. Damn it.
Yeah, this doesn't matter where you are. Track season begins now.
Yeah.
The track days are, they're out. Watch your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your friends. All the tracks are posting. Sign up now.
Yeah.
Don't wait too long for schools and competition.
Go to the track.
Yeah.
Go to the track, hone your skills, have fun.
Yeah.
Don't get, you don't have to worry about the police, and it's generally safer than hooning on the street.
But you still have to do it safely. You
Yeah,
still
oh
have to
yeah.
be prepared.
Yeah. We're going to go to the track next weekend. What do we want to do? So we want to make sure we have spare parts.
Yep. Okay.
We have time now to buy some parts, and they'll hopefully end up.
Before anything.
Okay, all right.
Let's just clarify, this doesn't matter if you have a dedicated track car or a daily driver that you're taking to the track.
Yeah.
This stands for everyone.
Yeah.
The only difference is that you might have a trailer in between, so check the tire pressure and tires on those, and your brakes. But otherwise, everything here is about your car. So first off, fluids. We should start with fluids.
Yep. Yeah. If your track car is in storage, you want to
fresh oil.
Yeah, fresh oil. Change all the fluids.
It's not just kilometers. It also
definitely brake fluid. Definitely brake fluid. I'm going to say if you haven't changed your brake fluid in 1 year, then absolutely change your brake fluid, and try and put in some decent fluid, like some race high temp boiling point.
Very simple here.
Yeah.
Brake fluid, doesn't matter what, through time has a certain boiling point, and as it gets older, it actually absorbs more water, and that lowers the boiling point.
Right.
Boiling point of water, 100 degrees Celsius. You don't want to be cooking tea on the track. You want to be cooking your brakes.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between 600 degrees and 100 degrees. So your brake fluid, honestly, and it's cheap to fix. It's a fluid. Yeah. It's like an oil change.
Yeah, the fluid's like $35 for a little bottle. You need 1.5 bottles to do the car. Have a friend. You can do it in the driveway. It's pretty easy. You have a jack, take the wheels off.
It's not expensive at a shop either.
Yeah.
It's just the price of
come to a shop. Right? Exactly. Yeah. Make sure the filters are clean. Yeah. Oil's changed.
Yeah.
Make sure your tires are in good shape.
Consumables, right?
Yep. Consumables, brake pads. You have enough brake pad. Nothing's worse than going to the track and you have 30% brakes and you go out for 2 sessions and you're already completely worn, and then the rest of your day is a waste of money.
Usually,
right?
you don't blow through pads that fast, but you should be aware as to how many you had left.
Yeah.
One of my worst experiences I ever had was in my Z4. I was coming down the back straight, full tilt, 200 kilometers an hour, and my left front brake on the inside that I couldn't visually see actually came down to metal on metal, and that was not a fun experience because it upset the car a little bit. A little bit of poop came out the back of me, and you don't want to have that. You want to have a nice, worry-free day. You want to know all the safety stuff, like your brakes know how to work, and tires.
And maybe pick up an extra set of pads that you can actually just change out quickly at the track.
Or be prepared. If you're going to use them up at the track, you don't want to be stuck going to work next week.
Yep.
Again, a little bit of ahead of the time thinking can save you a lot of money.
Yep.
As you know, with gas prices and oil and all the rest of it, everything just keeps getting more expensive. So the parts that you buy earlier, you're only going to save money. If you can throw them in a closet, throw them in your toolbox, you're only going to be saving money in the long run there. So tires, same thing. Make sure that you're not at the wear bar. You don't have to have dedicated track tires. Honestly, you don't.
Yep.
You drive within your skill level and within your car's confines, but you want to check.
A lot of people will wait until the year of to purchase new tires, because what's the sense of purchasing new tires in like October? and when they were produced like months earlier, and then you're starting the next spring and the tires are essentially a year old already. Yeah. So if that's you might want to start getting on the phone and calling to look for availability, because a lot of people were eager and they were already buying track tires in February and March. Yep. We're going into May now. A lot of the tires that you want are probably sold out. Yep. You'd be surprised how quickly people just scoop up all these competition type tires, right? Even just a Michelin PS4S or a Michelin Supersport, like very low quantities. I've been looking, and it's like, you really want to jump on those tires, even if your tires are like, let's say 30% right now, they might be 10% next weekend after the track day, and then you're scrambling for tires and they're all sold out.
Same thing again. Yeah. I actually bought track tires for the BMW. I'm looking at track tires for another car now. And my tire guy says, he's like, my price has jumped from March 31st to April 1st. It's just the nature of what's going on, inflation and everything. So
demand and supply.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. So
that's the main thing. So your car's prepped there. Your safety systems, same idea. Make sure that if you don't have stock belts and stock seats, make sure you're looking after your expiry dates. And that includes, hey, your melon helmet, like your noggin, right?
Yep. They've got, now they're changing the regulations for the SA rating. So it's basically a 2020 is in effect now. If you have a helmet that's 2010, it's no longer valid this year. Yeah. So keep that in mind. So it has to be a 2015 and newer helmet. So nothing's worse than going to the track and then, you get to the tech and they're like, yeah, sorry, you can't get on the track. You don't have the right safety gear.
Not just track, autocross. What we've continuously mentioned, autocross is the cheapest way to get into some fun racing.
Yep.
You don't want to be going there and then realizing at the last minute, oh man, I wasted this time and this effort, and boom, your helmet's not approved.
Yeah.
They check that. Everybody checks that.
The other thing too is if you have a fire extinguisher system, make sure that it's been serviced. And some of them actually they require like a service a date. Like there's it has to be serviced yearly, right? So that needs to be done as well. So
it's always a good time at the track because everyone's helpful and friendly, and if something goes wrong, someone's probably going to be there to help you. Everyone tries. It's a friendly event. If you are caught out, don't be afraid to talk to someone. There's going to be someone there who will loan you tools or whatnot, but it's a lot easier to just be prepared.
Yep.
And that's what we kind of wanted to dive into. And I'm going to start off here. I'll show you how I do it. Nothing's easier than a milk crate.
Yeah.
Cheap to buy, or if you actually want to.
I see a lot of Rubbermaid totes.
Yeah.
That's my choice because sometimes it'll start raining at the track, so you can just put a lid on it.
Yep.
I used to do that with a tarp.
Yep.
So that would work also. You could just basically tarp your stuff.
I've got garbage bags in my helmet bag. I have garbage bags for everything to throw them in to keep them dry.
Yeah. So, you want something that I can see why it's a milk crate because you got like this much room in your trunk for your Z4.
I've got a small trunk, so I've made it all work here.
Yeah.
And you know what? We'll jump around here, but I'm just going to go right off the top. I have specific parts for the Z4. So if you have something special on your car that is tough to get in time, this is a custom radiator coolant hose.
Rad hose.
Custom rad hose.
Looks like an upper rad hose.
It's an upper rad hose, and it's because I have a special supercharger on the car. This takes weeks to get. I would rather have a spare in advance because this is something that I know might be a thing I've got to have. So if there's something special like that for your car, put it in the trunk. Be ready if it's something that you need to have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least order it up at least.
We were talking about garbage bags.
There's an umbrella.
Doesn't hurt to have an umbrella.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If the weather's nice where you live, there's a good chance it's not nice at the track.
Yep.
Even if it's like an hour away. I don't know what it is, but it's like the track is jinxed with like, thick clouds sometimes.
We've been at track days with snow. I mean, the wind can make a difference where people get their stuff blown away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you don't have anything else, bring water.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, keeping hydrated is key. You don't realize how much you exert yourself in driving, especially if you're trying.
Even if you're not thirsty, try and make a point of actually guzzling down a couple of these throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're thirsty, it's too late. That's a pretty standard rule of thumb.
That's true. That's true. Plus, the water at the track is really expensive. Just
While we're on the whole sun and hot day thing, doesn't hurt to protect your noggin and yourself.
Yep, that's it.
Don't be cool. No one's tanning at the track. You'd be surprised when you're out there in between putting your helmet on how fast You can get, well, that's more for car shows, I should say. That's why I have that in there. But it doesn't hurt, right?
We should also start by saying the night before, don't be going to clubs. Don't be doing the 3 a.m. Timmy's or Mexico runs or any of that stuff. You really want to have like a clear mind, be well rested. You don't want to have that millisecond lapse of concentration on the track can cost you the car.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to be, when you're at the limit of a car and you're coming into a corner and you're like a buck 80, 200 kilometers an hour, like 1 or 2 milliseconds, that could be like 30, 50 feet, right? And then you just miss your braking point. And next thing you know, you're off in the marbles and who knows whatever else. So just make sure you're well rested.
If you're doing a 2-day in between, same thing. Your mind does its best work while it's sleeping. That is a scientific fact. You actually learn the track better while you're sleeping. Your mind's working on it. So give yourself some sleep. There's definitely an adrenaline rush, but do what you can to go to bed early. On the safety side of things, if you can, grab a first aid kit, a couple Band-Aids or whatnot. You might cut yourself while you're in the pits or whatnot. You don't want to be that guy who's bleeding everywhere.
Bring some mechanics gloves as well as maybe driving gloves. I mean, a lot of people do like the driving gloves. So if you have an Alcantara wheel, a dedicated driving glove is designed to actually grip the Alcantara. So you're not always white knuckling it. A lot of times just the friction itself from, between the glove and the Alcantara will make it a lot easier to kind of turn the wheel.
You'll mat down, and like a glove in general. We joke around about with instructors and stuff like that. You don't want to be the keener who's like, oh, it's my first track day, I got to have the best gloves. You don't need them, but they're a good thing to have. Right, just don't be too keen. You're not a race car driver just because you bought gloves. Keep that in mind too. Okay, so next thing, we were talking about prep. Plenty of guys should bring this, especially if you're a BMW owner.
Exactly.
have a spare little bit of oil.
And also, if you're a BMW owner and you have some oil leaks, you might want to get that fixed before the track day. So if you've got like a oil filter housing gasket or valve cover gasket leak. Get it looked at and fixed the week before you go to the track day, because it's just going to get worse, and the last thing you want to do is spill oil onto the track or onto your header or turbo. You don't want that.
The only times I've ever actually seen a car catch fire while I've been at the track is because something oil related, like an oil line blows or something like that. I'm getting a car inspected right now, and right after the brake lines get inspected, it's going to be all of the oil lines and pressure fittings. That's my 2 biggest fears. You'd be surprised. Your coolant, so that leak or the oil leak, that can ruin your day. Obviously, it's slippery, goes underneath your own tires, but you can ruin a lot of people's day behind you. Don't be that person. You don't want to cause that kind of problem. Now, a little bit of debate on this one. This one comes with some luck and not luck. Some people, or some track places, or schools and whatnot, they require you to have your tow hook handy.
It makes it easier to extract you in case you go off. They just come grab you, hook you on, and go, instead of you searching through a mangled trunk for your toolkit. You're not going to want the tow truck to hook your control arm and do even more damage than you have to fix. So that's not a bad idea. Some cars actually only come with one of those. So you might want to go to the dealer and pick up a spare one so you can actually put one on the front and rear bumpers of your car.
It's not your perfect wrench, but it covers every single size.
So bring a 10 mil and then that.
You have a 10 mil still?
What else do we have in here?
We almost completely forgot that you also need to have a torque wrench. Always a good idea to retorque your lug bolts, check them, make sure they're tight. Don't over tighten them, that's bad for your bearings, but definitely check.
Some things are car specific. So, for example, with a BMW, I require a certain jack stand. Vets require certain jack stands. Certain cars have certain requirements. So be aware if you need that. If you can bring a jack to the track, I do. I don't fit it in the trunk, but if I'm trailering, it's definitely something to have. You never know when you're going to want to get under.
You can pick up these nice little aluminum jacks now. They're a couple $100 at Princess Auto or Canadian Tire or whatever, and they're nice and light. You pick it up with one hand, right? So
the thing is also what you've got in your car now. We're talking about small kit, but it's not something that you're not going to use at home. It means that you have that tool in your tool chest.
Also, air compressor. People on the track with air compressors, you can always just kind of walk around and ask them to use it. You can get the little, the little ones you buy for $30-$40 $20 at Canadian Tire, plug into your cigarette lighter. I know that Ryobi has a pretty cool one that runs their 18-volt battery pack, and they're just more efficient, and they seem to last forever. Those, I mean, if you know about tools and 18-volt packs, you know, they'll last literally days, right? As opposed to like tripping over a cord, plug into a cigarette lighter.
If you got to go that route though, that's an option. I mean, as long as you've got a compressor, because you can at some point start to take a look at your tire pressure and see where you can find some advantage. That
absolutely.
A big handling difference. It can be an advantage. It can save tire wear.
Yeah, tire wear.
For sure. Along with that, obviously a tire gauge. That's kind of a must.
Well, that goes hand in hand for sure.
Make sure you have both.
And make sure you have a good tire gauge too. Not a little stick that you get at Canadian Tire. Get a proper one that you can actually, like, you know, purge the pressure out, so you can actually get to a proper pressure.
You'd be surprised. They're not that much more expensive. Everything we've talked about, with the exception of the jack, is pretty much under $100 for every single one. Things that you shouldn't forget. Okay, if this isn't in your car, you're gonna have a bad time.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Make sure you've got your wheel lock key, or if you have a specific tuner lug or something like that. Just make sure that you have that at the ready. And that's what's probably one of the most important things. All of these things we've talked about, take them out of the car when you go to the track.
Yeah, absolutely.
None of this stuff.
That's why I got a tote, right? Because like you can set up the tote and you can like empty the rest of the car. It'd be easier to empty the car at home, to be honest with you. But you know, take the stuff out of your glove box, out of your mat pockets, pull out the floor mats, look under the seat, because it could be something you missed. Next thing you know, you're in the braking zone and something rolls out. You know, so you don't want that. That's a distraction. Again,
gonna have a bad time.
You don't want to just miss focus, right, on the track. So
you might be surprised to learn that you should take your winter mats out, or any mats out. You don't want to be sliding around, or your mat slide up under your pedal. So take those out as well. There are certain things with regards to etiquette at the track, and one of those things is everyone's taking their stuff out of the car for safety. Ideally, everything is in a safe spot. So don't worry about that too much, or keep an eye on your stuff. But in general, the etiquette is everyone is kind, everyone knows. No one really goes through stuff or anything like that. It's pretty standard. I've never heard of stuff.
I've been going to the track for 30 years. Never heard of a theft or anything. If anything, like at the end of the track day, there's stuff left behind.
For sure. So you know what? Be safe about it. Don't worry about leaving stuff in your car. You do not want to have anything banging around.
And try not to be that guy that locks their car and then has a race car idle by and the alarm's going off, and you're over at the snack stand eating, and you got the car blaring your alarm because you're scared somebody's going to go in there and steal your phone charger. Just don't do that, you know.
So some other things just to help you out. Make sure you get there early, both to sign in, and if you're going to want to have a spot where you can put your stuff, get there, set up early, get your car checked out early. It's worth it. You should be going to bed early anyway.
It's true.
Talked about that. Right? So.
Try not to procrastinate. Try and get all this stuff sorted and done a couple of days before the track day, so that you're not rushing and like freaking out the night before and stressing over forgetting stuff and then not being able to go to sleep, and then having to get up at 5 a.m. to be there for the 7 o'clock, sign in or whatever.
By building a kit like this, you take away a lot of that anxiety because you're ready. You know what you've got there. You're always going to have that stuff there. And the last thing I think we want to touch off on here is, in general, mechanical sympathy. Along with preparing your car and preparing yourself, you should also have that proper sympathy. Be aware. If your car doesn't have oil pressure gauges or oil temperature, be aware of where that oil light may show up. Check your oil. If you got an oil change or not. Check your oil, check your dipstick, check it throughout the day. You never know what's going to happen. Keep an eye on your coolant. When we say mechanical sympathy, we mean keep an eye on the car. Don't overdrive it. You just want to be gentle, and smooth is fast. It doesn't matter. You may think you're aggressive and having a great time. You're just wrecking your car, wrecking yourself.
On that note, remember, usually the first track event is where all the people start going either bonkers crazy just because they've got all this pent up energy over the winter. Just start gradually. The track's got sediment and crap on there. The tires are they're just sitting like they're hockey pucks over the winter. Just take your time, build up speed on the first day, and don't go balls to the wall the first session, like right off the bat.
Warm up.
Honestly, warm up. Also, get the cobwebs out of your head and get into the groove of things. Also check, like some tracks will do a little bit of maintenance over the winter, and then next thing you know, you're going into the corner too hot and like, oh my God, there's a different type of asphalt here, and you're like sliding off because there's different grip levels, right? So keep that in mind.
A corner can
Yeah.
change from one year to the next.
Yeah.
Like, Toronto Motorsports
Yeah.
Park went from concrete in certain areas to fresh asphalt, and
Yeah.
fresh asphalt brings a whole different realm of oil and whatnot with it. So
Yep.
be aware. So we've covered off a lot in a very quick period. Favorite this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And
Yeah.
thank you for watching. Have a great season.
Thank you. Stay safe.